Nicole, and welcome to Cinema Therapy. Welcome to the show that are for people who know nothing about life, but know all about TV and film. It's really funny when I mess up the model, like I didn't write it. My name's Nicole.
I'm Karen.
Karen, how have you been this week?
I've been really well. I have been adjusting to life without Game of Thrones.
Oh
like
my gosh.
After Game of Thrones. It's a thing, Nicole.
Yes.
It's a thing.
It's like BC, AC. It's like before GOT.
Yeah, exactly.
After GOT.
Exactly.
Do you feel differently?
I do feel differently. It's actually weird because it's aligning with like a lot of things happening in my life. Like we saw Wicked.
Yes.
We saw our good friend Giselle in Wicked. I hope that Glenda's okay. She fell on the stairs like during the show. I was thinking about that too. Like I hope she's okay.
I mean, I hope so too. I have to say this story real quick. Like I've seen Wicked maybe like this was my fourth time seeing Wicked. And I knew that this fall wasn't supposed to happen. I just remember seeing Glinda tumble down this long flight of stairs, and she's in this big blue dress looking like Cinderella just fell down. And I let out a scream, guys. Like, and this is theater where you're not supposed to, make noises if you're in the audience, except for, appropriate clap points. I legit screamed because I was just like, is she okay?
Right. Yeah. I was so uncomfortable that I was laughing. Like I was just so like I saw her face on like the staircase, like and like her neck was not completely because luckily she's still here, but it was bent. Like you know what I mean? It was so uncomfortable.
She fell badly. It was not like a chills fall. It was real. It was real fun.
More power to her for continuing with the show. But the theme of like what I'm going through is like just seeing women in power, a lot of women being misunderstood. Not that Khaleesi was misunderstood, but that's a different episode.
I feel like we need to do like we can't though because you're moving to the Philippines. You're going to the Philippines for 2 weeks. It's not forever. I'm making it seem like you're like leaving forever. But Cinema Therapy is coming back.
Yeah.
Our friendship is going to be going on in New York. I don't have to say goodbye forever.
We're going to have a debriefing for everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
There's just so many things I want to discuss with you.
Yeah.
But, you're so busy.
Oh, please. Well, my acting class finished, so I just wanted to shout out to that, too.
Heidi Marshall.
Yeah, it was really nice to just feel seen and have someone believe in you. It's cute.
That's
it's a
fantastic.
nice feeling. How are you?
I am great. I'm doing great, guys. It's been a good week. I've been able to hang with friends. I feel like I'm excited about some professional opportunities. I'm not going to go into it, but just feeling very, very good about where my life is heading. And also my mood just gets better as the weather warms. So I'm really excited about all that life has to offer. I was just in the park. I had to leave early, but it was really nice just being in the sun and seeing people be so vibrant and just like enjoying each other. So
nice.
I was really appreciating it. Well, what are we talking about today, Karen?
Well, I feel like today's a little bit of a birthday episode because
God.
someone's birthday is coming up in the next few days. Your rotation around the sun.
Yes.
And it is a very important rotation around the sun.
Yeah.
It's
the anniversary, the 3-decade anniversary of my birth.
I don't understand why you are like dreading this. This is This is an amazing time of your life. This is a return of Saturn, Nicole.
I really wish Is that what it means, like astrologically, the return of Saturn for 30?
I mean, it usually happens like late 20s, and it's a like years long process. I feel like mine started at 27 and completed at 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think mine started 2012 and completed.
2012?
Is that wrong?
Oh, so you were grown a long time ago.
No, not grown. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's something in astrology that's saying that, like, there was a period that started in like around the time I went to law school and it's like kind of like completing itself. Like I'm like revisiting, issues of identity and self that I was looking into when I was still in law school.
Should look into that.
Yeah.
Because usually I find that people don't have that until like late 20s. But maybe you're an exception.
I don't know. I've always felt like I was really wise. So.
That's fair.
I feel like I'm like a child and an old man together. I'm actually like, when I think about the fact that this birthday is coming, I don't really like dread it. I'm not, I don't want to lie about my age and tell people that I'm 29 forever. Like, that just, I don't know. This is disingenuous and just not me. I'm going to be real about who I am. But I do like when people can't guess that I'm 30. It really makes me very happy. I was just hanging out with a whole bunch of like new friends, and one person was like, yeah, we're around the same age, right? You're like 24. And I was like, whoa. I was like, wait, hold on. Let me take this opportunity. Hey, how old do you think I am? How old do you think I am? How old do you think I am?
Oh my God.
And the average answer I got was like 25. And the oldest answer I got was 27. So I felt very, very good. It might be the braids, my little braided ponytails,
and your baby
like
face.
Making me youthful. Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, like the fact that I had a baby face was considered very unsexy. They're like, oh, she looks very young. Like, that's gross. I'm glad that the baby face is like making sure that I look youthful.
Yeah, you have very nice skin and plump cheeks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Use it to your advantage.
How should I go be a 30-year-old model?
I guess. I mean, okay, fine. Yeah, that's fair. In the acting class, they gave us an age range that they thought that we could play. Mine was 20 to 29.
Ooh, that's a big range. Like, you could go for so many roles.
I know.
You could be like...
But that's what I mean, use it to your advantage. But, yeah, you don't want to do that, so never mind.
I'm open to many different possibilities. If a world famous director, it wouldn't be just like somebody who stopped me in the street, because I don't just trust strangers. But if it was somebody I recognize and they're like, "Hey, be in my movie," I'd be like, "Yeah, I'll be in your fucking movie."
Just putting it out there, everyone. Book her, cast her.
But I can't go for Karen's lane. She's very protective.
Don't start, Nicole, because we are different types.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware. Anyways, what is the name of this episode?
Okay, the name of this episode is Fuck, I'm Old. I love the name. It makes me think of a Sex and the City episode when she's like celebrating her 35th birthday, and there's a 25-year-old who is blowing out her candles, and she's like, fuck, I'm old. And Carrie's alone in their table with no friends. Anyway, so it's called Fuck, I'm Old. It's celebrating going into your 30s, how they say in 13 Going on 30, 30, flirty, and thriving. Mm-hmm. But it could be so much more than that. I feel like there's so much depth that you get to at this age, and I'm so excited to talk about it with our guests, Candace Dorman.
Oh,
hi.
Hi. She's joining us from Massachusetts right now, right? You're in New Haven?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm in Massachusetts right now in Foxborough. I'm at let's call them the Elder Dormans. We're at the in-laws' house, and we're celebrating the baby's first birthday. Paula's son is turning 1 next week, and she was in town, so it was a great opportunity to get everybody together, even though it's a few days early. Mm-hmm. And so they've got a bouncy house. I'm missing out on it, but it was a little bit hot out there, and I was trying to the show all greasy.
Oh, you look great. You look very luminous. Yeah. I wish our guests could see it.
So we booked a hotel for the night. We stayed in the house last night, and you know that sometimes it's like too many of us, right? It's really cozy, and everybody really likes to be together. And so we did it the one night, but tonight I'm really glad we're going to be in the hotel down the street. So I came to record from the hotel.
Oh, okay.
And must admit, I'm enjoying the quiet. Like, all I can hear right now is the low rumble of the AC. Ooh. And that's joy for a mom of two. So. else. Thank you, ladies, for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you. I can imagine it's nice to like get away from all the noises because just like waking up at your home, it's very lively all day. The day starts very early. It starts from 5:30 because Emery is up. He gets up really early and he's like, "Daddy!" He's like,
Aww.
"Get up!"
He goes, "Mommy, I'm awake. Get up."
He's very demanding.
That's so cute. So tell us about Candace. How do you know Candace, Nicole?
So Candace is my sister-in-law. She is the wife of my husband's brother. They have been dating since college, right?
Yeah, it's been 17 years. 17 wonderful years.
Oh my gosh. And like your wedding anniversary, like how many years has it been since you've been married?
Oh, we're coming on 7, I think.
Okay.
I think this year 7, like next week is our wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Year.
Oh my
Definitely.
gosh.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an awesome and I want to say bumpy, but if I'm being honest, the bumps are really small. So it's been a really good time. And 7 years married, but 17 years together. So we've definitely basically grown up together. And I guess it's important to say that I'm the wife of your husband's older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to you guys, like, I'm trying to remember the transition to 30 and how I might have been feeling, but I'm so deep in my 30s now. It's a distant memory.
Do you want to share your age, or do you want to just say, I'm well acquainted with the 30s. I've been there.
I'm happy to say my age because I feel good. I feel I'm going to be 36 in 2 weeks. My birthday's in a couple weeks.
Yay.
And I feel really great about it, but I think I have wanted to be 36 since I was 12.
Wow.
So like the early part of 20s, I'm like an old lady inside. Not that I think 36 is old lady. I've been looking forward to being seasoned and sassy and just saying whatever I want the way like old ladies do. You know what I mean?
Yes, I get that.
Fox.
Yeah.
I can't even like imagine you because I've always known you to be in your 30s. Like I guess I met you when you were like 31, 32. But at that time, I always like saw you as someone who like was very self-assured and bold and knew what they wanted and wasn't like worried about like what all the little minds might be thinking. It's like I know what I'm doing right now, and I can't imagine you as like a person who's younger and who's like, oh, am I doing the right thing at 23? Or like that, like confused, like, oh, I'm just so unsure, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't even picture like what that Candace looks like. Have you always been like, I'm just really determined. I know what I'm going to do today.
Oh, no, absolutely. No, not even a little bit. I think if I'm being honest, as I'm thinking about it, I think I wanted to get to that point of feeling self-assured and feeling confident because I always felt like I had no idea what I was doing. And I'm a firstborn, so I feel like people expect you to know what you're doing, and you get put on a path, and you're like, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to college and get a good job, find a good guy, have kids, like all of the things in order. And I had no idea what I was doing. So it's I don't know that it really comes easy to anyone, and even the people you think it comes easy to, it probably doesn't. Yeah. It takes a lot of work to build up your confidence.
That's so true.
I'm going to be specific there because it's like I think it takes a lot of work to build up your confidence in an authentic and real way. Whereas if you were just vain and you're like, I got this, I'm cute, nobody can tell me anything, like that doesn't feel like the same kind of work has to be put into that. You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of palpable when the difference between the two. Like you just, wanting people to believe that you understand what you're doing, and when you truly are confident and not like trying to make an impression that you're confident.
Right. One is a lot louder than the other.
Very
promise
true.
you that.
Very true. Well, I'm so excited that you're talking with us. I was saying how lovely it was to see you guys in New Haven, and like it felt like I was like seeing what my future could be if I wanted it, like the whole, like the complete family and like the very like functional structure. So like it's just very exciting to see like, you know, that opportunity. So anyway, I'm really excited to have you on the show. We have like a list of different 30s media, so I just want to go down the list and think about like the different themes that these TV shows and movies bring up. So the first one I thought of was Friends, season 7, episode 14. Were you able to see this episode, Candace?
No, I've seen every episode like 39 times, so I didn't have to go back and look at it.
Oh, I totally get it. It was like a memory in my mind. I just like wanted to make sure I got it right. But every time I think of like 30 approaching, I think of Joey crying, "Why, God, why? You're supposed to keep me young." That's just like the image that always comes in my brain. It's so like seared into there.
Hey, no, that's real. And then I feel like that's the pivot point where then I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, where he goes from that point forward, it's all about him being super goofy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he was kind of dopey before, but you expect it. Then it was about him feeling old but trying to be young, right? And trying to wear what the or trying to, you know, and then it became stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when in the earlier episodes of Friends, I feel like he was really a player. Like he was like, you know, I sleep with a lot of girls and they're there for one night, and he was kind of like slick about it. And then it became like, I'm kind of dumb and I really like sandwiches. I'm in a coma in my soap opera. I don't know. That character really took a shift, and I feel like it was like he was still very attractive, but he wasn't at the level he was where it was like still charming to be like a womanizer.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. So it's an awkward thing, and all of the characters have an arc like that, and people go through life stages. Mm-hmm. So there are probably people out there because we all know what that guy looks like, who was hot when he was younger, and then now he's not young, but he still thinks he is. He's still dressing like he was in high school, slick hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Know what that guy looks like, and he's kind of a douche, right?
Mm-hmm,
it's real.
Yeah.
You can't get to talk to him.
What'd you say?
Right. I said it's all because they can't get women their age to talk to them because they're being English. And so they try to capitalize on being the older guy and then go after presumably younger, less experienced girls.
Which is really gross, but we didn't know it at the time.
There's so many things that when you rewatch Friends, you're like, ooh, that's not actually an okay thing.
Yeah.
Well, like, we don't say that anymore.
Right, yeah.
But still in the history book, so.
Yeah, it's good to preserve that period of time. I really feel like I am experiencing like the late 90s and early 2000s when I rewatch it and revisit it. What's interesting about this episode is just shows all the characters turning 30 and like all the ways that they all are celebrating it. And it seems like Rachel particularly, like, and Joey as well, the ones who I think idolize like being really beautiful and like really care about their looks, are the ones who are really dreading it. I feel like it's like this confrontation of like, oh, I'm gonna age and continue to age. Like this is just a downward spiral. While other characters, I feel like they're trying to look for, like back at their timeline and see what they've accomplished. Like, oh, have I like ticked off all the boxes I expected to tick off by the time I was 30? And if they're not really pleased with themselves, then they start to, think back and like think of other ways that they could have gone about their lives. So it's just interesting to think of like how the media has also reinforced this idea of like looking at 30 as this like object of dread, right? Like, Candace, did you look at 30 like did you face the prospect of turning 30 with like optimism or with dread? It seems like you looked at it like hopefully. It's like, oh, I'm gonna feel much more confident in myself.
Right. No, absolutely. For my 30th birthday party, I threw a tea party. Ooh. And so over several weeks. I was at every local thrift store looking for like just the right teaware and the right china pieces. So I mean, I'm an old lady at heart. Like I've been wearing tweed and shawls since I was 21, and it feels like when I was turning 30 and I had just gotten married that like, okay, now I'm going to, it felt like a switch, right? Mm-hmm. And I was wrong, but I thought, okay, now I'm 30, I'm going to know what to do. And so I wasn't worried about it because I was waiting for that time where I would feel like I knew what to do.
Karen, did you face the prospect of turning 30 with dread or with optimism? You've been 30 for how long now? Like 7 months?
9 months.
9 months.
Oh my God, I can't even count. Like 10 months now. No, I'm not counting correctly right now. Since October.
So 7 months.
Yeah, well, a lot. So I have most of my friends turned 30 before I did, and I would date men who were older than me. So I saw firsthand like them becoming 30. And interesting enough, a lot of the men in my life, well, one man in particular, he was so depressed about it. He was kind of self-loathing at the time, and he was riding on the waves of like, I'm not doing enough, like I'm old, like it's all downhill from here. And I think because I was around that for so long, I really made an intention to myself to not wallow in that, and I just wanted to make sure that I welcomed my 30s in a more positive way. So I like worked to make like to just be on top of my shit, so I didn't feel like that at 30. I have a friend who turned 40 last year, and he was like saying that he loved his 30s. It was like the best time of his life. And a lot of other people, again, it's like the return of Saturn, I feel, around that time in a person's life. And you just like know yourself, and you have less tolerance and time for bullshit. And yeah, so for my 30th birthday, I took time off. I had a staycation. I went apple picking with my sister, and then I had a Filipino feast, Kamayan, where we all like laid food out on banana leaves, and we ate with our hands, and then everyone around the table answered like a question, and it was like, well, what was the best thing about your 20s? What was the worst thing about your 20s? What are you looking forward to in this next decade of your life? And everyone went around the circle and answered these questions, and it was just so nice and intentional. And I compare that to like my 21st birthday, or even other birthdays in my 20s, where I would just get drunk and like be a complete mess, and it's just not cute anymore. And so I was like, wow, I feel this is nice. This is what I want. This is intentional. This is meaningful and fulfilling to me. And I am so excited to be 30. 30 so far has been amazing.
I love that you love it. Yeah, it feels right for you.
Oh.
Well, I just like picture you like, I don't know. I feel like you're going to be this like character actress, and you're going to be doing all this work in your 30s and 40s, and you're like, I don't even know why I was stressing in my 20s. Oh. Like I got so much work. I booked City. Like it's going to be crazy.
Well, thank you. Well, are you excited about being 30? Are you dreading it, or are you, do you not care?
I guess like it's weird for me whenever there's these like, time markers, because I feel like I'm the same no matter what. Like I'm like turning whatever age, and I'm like, I'm still the person I was like 2 minutes ago though. So it just kind of feels like an arbitrary marker, and not necessarily like when I feel more mature or more accomplished or whatever. But I'm happy to celebrate it. I am taking the opportunity to spend some time in Denver with a large group of friends. And we're going to Red Rocks Amphitheater, which is one of my like top like most desired concert venues to go to in the U.S. It's very natural looking. It's like carved out of this rock, and you can see all these mountains, and it's like apparently one of the best places to listen to music because like the acoustics are so crazy, like amazing. So I'm really excited for that.
I look forward to hearing about it.
Yeah.
Is that the theater, the bench seating where it's just long benches?
Yeah, it is.
In a circle.
Yeah, it's just kind of like rock benches, sort of, if I'm like picturing it properly. I think at least some of it just looks like naturally formed chairs, but I think they kind of like carved it out.
Very cool.
Yeah, it looks really impressive in pictures. I recommend everyone can look and then just like feel all those envy of going, and then plan your own trip to go to Red Rocks, whatever.
This envy, I cannot.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. When the first time I saw that was a venue that I could go to, I was like, whoa, like I wish I could go to every show that's there. And I've been like very intentional about like trying to find a time to go. I like followed their Red Rocks Instagram so I could see all the shows that they had this year and just plan everything the best way. And it was, it's interesting because like, if you asked me 10 years ago, like, is Nicole organized? Does Nicole plan things? People are like, no. Nicole just does whatever she wants in that moment and then, like, lets life happen to her. I feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm trying, I've, like, rejected these, like, labels that were put onto me because I feel like I, like, did when people said I was lazy. I was like, okay, I'm lazy. When people were like, I'm unorganized, I'm like, oh, I'm unorganized. I realized I'm just like working on being organized. I'm working on like being more determined and being dedicated to whatever my craft is. So I've become more comfortable with those things, and one of the ways that this has like benefited me is by like planning my birthday and not waiting for my birthday to happen to me. I don't know about y'all, but I was always dreaming like somebody's gonna surprise me with a birthday party. It's gonna be amazing. I won't have to do anything. I won't have to invite all my friends and pick a day and pick a place. Like all of that sounded terrible to me. I was like, I don't want to do any of that. It's just like, I want a party to happen and someone invite me and I'd be there and everyone's celebrating me. I realized that's very, like, it's just
like not.
What were you saying?
You said it's not a regular occurrence. It happens every once in a while. But if you
I've
want things to happen, you got to make them happen.
I've never had I had like one surprise like birthday on a beach when I was in high school.
Yeah, Nicole, you did. We did plan
wow.
that. Okay.
I think it was after I expressed a love for surprise parties, and it was because like the birthday before that, I think I was like between two of my friends making out with boys and me being by myself.
Oh my gosh.
You don't remember that?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I was on a couch in the middle of Nicole making out with someone and Karen making out with someone.
Oh no.
And I was just
I don't remember this. I'm so sorry.
15 and like, okay.
See, 15, it's not cute.
Or 16.
You know?
Oh, 16. I was 16.
It's not cute. But I'm sorry for that.
No, it's fine.
I really like what you said, Candace. If you want something to happen, you got to make it happen. And it shows, Nicole, that, I mean, you started planning this birthday back in January.
I did.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's very telling of, like, as we get older, we do become a lot more intentional about our time.
Yeah. And not waiting for people to, like, tell us that, okay, now's the time to have fun. Now's the time to work towards your career, like volunteer for that cause you really care about. It's now like is when you are starting to like make these like statements about yourself. It's like, I am this and this is how I show it. Like, I am a family woman and this is how I'm on the PTA and I volunteer and I'm like, advocating for my causes at City Hall, whatever the fuck it is. Like, I just feel like there's much more of like show it, do like put that into action than there is in your 20s when there's a lot of like, yeah, I think I'm great and I'm very idealistic and like having these huge visions of yourself, but not really knowing how to make that concrete. Like, I just appreciate like coming into this age where it's like, I might not be 100 different things amazingly well, but I have a clearer idea of who I am, and it feels more genuine and more honest. And that's admirable and exciting.
Yeah.
Words matter a lot. And the reason you were feeling that way is because people said that to you and you internalized it. Mm-hmm. And it's really, it's hopefully it's part of getting older and having more experience. Mm-hmm. And it shows when people don't lean into learning from their experiences, because they're still waiting for other people to tell them what to do. They're still waiting to be shown how to do something when people are expecting for them to stand up and take charge of themselves. So that's self-talk. And that means that maybe you don't get older at the minute that you turn 30, mm-hmm. but if you've been planning this since January, it means you've sort of been slowly building up to 30 in a way that you don't even recognize. Like you're showing up for well before you think you are, and so you don't even know that you're doing it. And that means you are very different, right? And you don't see that until you can look back and like from 31, you'll be like, oh, I actually did start to change from about 29 and a half. You know what I mean? But it just feels like you're chugging along and you're trying to make things happen.
That's so real. I love that. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I think that's very true for me. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times I'm not aware of changes that are happening until much later. So I love that. I love that thought. Thank you so much, Candace. I'm so happy to have you here. I wanted to mention another TV show, Insecure. Candace recommended that we talk about it in regards to our 30s. And it's funny because I was like, I need to look up their ages again, because it's hard to like tell, if they're like in their late 20s and their mid 30s or whatever. But I revisited the first episode, and she does say like I turned 29, and she's seeing it as like, okay, it's the last year of my 20s. And my life is not at all how I expected it to be. So Issa Rae, I don't remember Issa's character. Well, it's just Issa. I don't remember her last name in the show. Mm-hmm. But Issa is in a relationship where she feels like she's not being stimulated anymore. Like they've been together for 5 years, and there's still a lot of love there, but she's just feeling like, it's just I'm in it, but it's not romantic or sexy anymore. It's not meeting all my needs, and I need to be going out for what I want. So she starts like making these intentions, as you were saying, Candace, of like, I'm going to be, more bold and ask for what I want, or get what I want. I'm not going to just stay in a relationship because that's where I happen to be in. But what's interesting about her character is like, she is she's putting out these statements, but it takes, it's like one step forward, 3 steps back. It's very realistic in that, like, I'm saying that I'm going to treat my relationship differently, my professional life differently, but she has a problem getting out of those patterns of comfort. She's still feeling like, this apartment situation still kind of feels good, so I'm not really gonna like actually end my relationship. I'm just gonna kind of like look at all my options, and she doesn't fully commit to
anything.
Yes, like she's just like, I'm gonna play around with the idea of seeing what would happen if I dated this guy that I've known since I was in high school. I'm gonna play around with the idea of like, maybe I would fully commit to my job and like be really into like doing public service. Like, it just seems like she likes it when it seems kind of convenient and when the opportunity is in front of her, but she has a hard time like putting things into motion, which is like a very relatable part of the character. She's not someone who's just like, I am it, so I do it. Because we all wish that we could like immediately change into the people we want to be. But it takes time, and it takes implementing these new practices. So I really relate to her character, and I appreciate her.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely, the journey of her leaving her job is like several years long. Mm-hmm. And it was so nice when she finally just left.
Yeah.
But she was like going on again, like what you said, like going on that roller coaster, like up and down, like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And also with her relationship, like that, her ex, I don't remember his name from the
Lawrence.
Lawrence came back at the end of the second season, or the third
season.
And then she kind of entertains the idea, like, well, what if? And then she has like an honest conversation with herself, and it's just like, well, no, like our time has passed, and we are what we are now, and it's nice. And he can be in my life, but not be who he used to be. And everything is like a learning process, and it takes time and other experiences to teach us that.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with those kinds of decisions in your 20s. You feel like you have all the time in the world. And so if this isn't working for me, I deserve to be happy, so I'm going to be happy, right? I'm going to go and find the next thing because this is obviously not working for me. And you feel, and I guess you do, have the latitude to do that because everybody expects you in your 20s to be a little bit flighty and try out a bunch of things.
Yeah, experiment.
What happens when you get into the next decade is that you realize that you don't, or I'll say I realize that I don't deserve to be happy, right? Like it should just come to me without any work. I have to be intentional about being happy and decide what being happy means.
Yeah.
You can't just, it's not a nebulous happy, like we all know what happy is and is going to be for you. You have to determine what happy is, and then you have to go and get it.
For sure.
And when you're at that stage in your life, it is, you make decisions about whether this relationship is the one you want to be in, and maybe you guys are rut, and you have to figure out how to then turn it back into the relationship that you want to be in. You don't just, oh, we're married and the first 5 years were good, but year 6 and 7 is kind of like not sexy, so I'm going to go find a new person. Like that's not how any of this works.
Right. I think people have a very like romantic idea of how a relationship is supposed to be. Is like, I meet my ideal partner and now it's my ideal relationship. And like compatibility, I think is as far as like personality, I do think it's important, but there's so many other aspects that you have to like look at. I feel like relationships are a mirror of like your worst behavioral traits. Because you're not even aware of like all the ways that you're just like kind of dysfunctional in just like your home life. Like your partner just like shows you things that you could like, it's like, this is gross. Like you put your toothbrush here. Why? Like, don't do that. Like that you just like learn so many things about yourself. And I think a lot of times people enter into a relationship and thinking like, oh, this is going to make me happy now. Like, this is all that's going to like please me now. But you really, like you said, there's just so much effort into like making sure that your relationship is functional and it's like you're both benefiting from it and it's not just draining you.
The other thing I'll just add on to that is that it's not like this thing that my husband says to me a lot is that there's a misnomer that in a relationship things are going to be 50-50. It's not 50, and if things are like not sexy right now, it's not going to be 50-50 getting it back together where you can count on them to come to you and meet you halfway. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, and part of being in the relationship is seeing when that other person is up or down and moving towards them, even if it means taking a few extra steps.
Yeah.
The example I give is this year we're pushing on 17 years together, and James went through this series of I guess it was a couple months where he was basically working some aromatherapy on me, and he was trying like different colognes, and he was doing all this research on like different smelling oils that like had maybe pheromones in it or had like whatever kind of thing, because maybe what we needed right now is for like this like sexy smell to just like drag us together. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize how much of a rut we were in, and so I was just like, oh my god, I can't handle all of this, like it smells, oh my god, oh my god, why would you choose that? And it was just a whole lot of reacting to the specific sense. But now that we've sort of gotten through that, I realized that some of them were working, right? And they were working in a sense that we were talking a lot more and in this like playful way, in a sense that we were definitely closer when the scent was fire. Like some of the things were just like, ooh, baby, like what? It just caught you off guard. And I was like, oh, pheromones might actually be a thing. But you have to be willing in a relationship to try some like random wild thing like that. And it doesn't always have to be, oh, now we have to have a threesome, or we have to jump out of a plane. Or, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, we have to go like sleep with another person in order to feel better about this thing. It could be something playful like that really has a like profound effect on you, and you don't even realize it.
I think that's such an important point, because I think, talking about polyamory or open relationships, I think that's a big topic right now. Like, it's coming up a lot in media. But your couple's version of wild can be completely different with another couple's version of wild. Like, I think for me and David, if we ended up going to a museum next weekend, like that's a huge offset from our normal routine. Like that, I think that's going to put us in a completely different frame of mind and kind of like interject a little different energy into a relationship, and that can be really helpful. But I think sometimes people see what other couples are doing and they're like, maybe that would work for me. But you have to be very aware of what your like dynamic is and like what works for you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To piggyback off what you were saying, Candace, about it not always being 50-50, it just it makes me think of her best friend in Insecure. I don't know her name.
Molly.
Yeah. But she goes into this polyamorous relationship with a man. Well, he's in a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah, he's in an open marriage.
Yeah, in an open marriage. And she's kind of secretive about it because she's worried that her friends are going to judge her. And I'm sure like part of her also is judging herself. Like, I'm better than this. I deserve more. I deserve someone who's going to give me more. But I also think it's just very telling of a lot of things that maybe women in particular face in their 30s, maybe late 20s as well. Just like the pressure that a lot of friends can have on a woman's dating life. I feel like a lot of friends tend to kind of like insert their opinion on a relationship that their friend is having with someone else, and because it's in their eyes, it's not meeting their standards of what a successful partnership is. And I feel like that's very dangerous. You know what I mean? And if Molly wants what she wants at that moment, like we just need to let her go through it and like experience it with a man, with that person. You know what I mean? Even if it's in the long run might not be the best situation for her.
I totally understand that. I'm gonna also act like little Issa right here, because I when Molly got into that situation, if it was any other character, I think I might have been okay with it, because Dro's really hot. I like the idea of like you being single and maybe like exploring what this looks like. Like maybe you just like take some time with this guy and explore that situation. The fact that she's known him since high school, like it definitely was scratching an itch that she had curiosity about. It's just that Molly was so like driven to be married. Like it's like, I want to be married. I want this like picture perfect ideal of a relationship. And I like the idea for some people to kind of like be shaken out of that image of like what a perfect marriage or a relationship looks like. Maybe that was beneficial to her in that way, but I just didn't want her to be so disappointed. But I do feel like she became stronger after everything she went through. So I do understand, like, ultimately I think you're right, because like you have to let your friends experience what they're going to experience. They're going to learn so much no matter what, even if the relationship doesn't end up, lasting many years. But I think Molly in the third season, she comes from a very empowered place when she's like looking at her relationships. Like, I understand that I need boundaries because those are what my needs are. And if you're not allowing me to have boundaries, then this can't work anymore. I'm not going to live in a lie and make it seem like this is working for me when it's not. So I do like seeing that growth. And yeah, I understand both sides of it.
Yeah.
That's what being in your 30s is.
Yes. That's so growth. That's one of my favorite like little parts. What's that? Kelly. I love her character so much. She's one of the writers on the show, and I love that scene where she's like, "You know what that is? Growth." And it's like,
So
I use that GIF a lot. Let's move on to 13 Going on 30. So this movie came out in 2004. Somehow I missed it.
I'm not surprised.
I never watched it. It's funny because I was watching the Ariana Grande video, Thank You Next.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that video, Candace?
I think so.
Well, it's basically just like feeding to all the rom-coms you might have watched in like the early 2000s. So it has like references from Mean Girls, it has references from 13 Going on 30, and Bring It On. But I didn't recognize the reference from 13 Going on 30 at all. I just see this woman in like Ariana Grande in a red dress and a little bob, and then she has like a Barbie house and she's crying. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh my God, you didn't know?
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Girl.
I only knew it because Lori later, she's like, it would be really cool if you had a show and it was about like the movies they talked about on Thank You Next, and she referenced 13 Going on 30. So that's how I knew what it was. Now I get it. I thought it was a really cute movie. What did it mean to you, Karen?
It's one of my favorite rom-coms. Yeah, I saw it when it came out, so I was around that age, like 13, 15 years old. And I was so enamored with her waking up 30 and in this world where she's living in the city. You know, she grew up in New Jersey in the suburbs, and she became like a city woman and very successful, very popular, had a very seemingly, you know, committed relationship with this successful, attractive man. It just like, I was like, that's what I want at 30. Like, I want to be 30, flirty, and thriving. I want to live in the city. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. But what I really loved how, like, it talks about how your priorities are very clear to you like, the older you get. Like, your priorities change, and she, you know, we see her realize that she doesn't want this, like, shallow lifestyle. Like, that's not a priority for her. Like, her relationship with her parents is very important to her. What she wants in a partner is very important to her. And there are ways to gain the success and happiness that you want for yourself without compromising your priorities, your integrity. You don't have to, like, succumb to, I guess, like, these levels of being a horrible person. Because she grew up to be a horrible person.
She was cheating.
She was miserable.
She was cheating with somebody's husband, and he wasn't even cute. She was like,
she was backstabbing her friends,
backstabbing the job.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
She was really shitty. It's like, wow, it really took a turn.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what did you think you would look like at 30 when you were like 13 or in your teens?
Mary Tyler Moore was a huge.
That's what you thought of when you thought of 30?
Yeah. I mean, maybe 20s.
Okay.
But Mary Tyler Moore is 30. Like, she moves to the city at 30, like in her 30s, single. She was supposed to be a divorcee, but the writers of CBS didn't want her to be divorced, so they just said that she was getting out of a long-term relationship. But I wanted to be a career woman, and I wanted to be in the city, and I wanted to have
Which
my
city?
own. New York,
okay,
of course, of course. But I wanted to, like, have my own Lois Lane apartment, you know, and have an incredible fashion sense, and yeah.
How about you, Candace? What did you think 30 would look like?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to relate it to a movie or a show, and the first thing that came to mind for me is Working Girl with Smith. And because I'm from the Bronx, right? So, I mean, she's where they're from, Long Island or something. I don't remember where they're from. But this sort of idea of being gritty and then going to the big city and having to clean up, and then nobody would even know that that you're from the hood.
Oh, wow.
Is what I'm thinking about and related to a movie. But when I have a very clear memory of being maybe 14. I must have been 14 or 15, and being in the park. I used to be the girl with the, like, book on the bench or something like that.
Cute.
And I have clear memory of writing a story about a woman who goes away and comes back, and she's like shaved all her head off, not her head, her hair. So she's got like a Halle Berry situation, and that people are so stunned when they see her and she comes back, and people are like, "Who are you?" Like, I can't believe it's still you. And that's what I think about. I was writing the story about who I thought I was going to be, or like what I thought was going to be for me, because I used to have long hair, and it was a very big deal. Everybody always talked about my long hair, and it was part of your beauty and like your youthful beauty and whatever. And I remember writing the story feeling like nobody ever sees me, and so I'm going to cut off this hair, and then they're going to have to see me, and then they're going to know, right?
Yeah.
Like that felt to me like, when I'm in, like, I think I was writing about being 29, but like when I'm 30 or when I'm 29, people will see that I'm me.
Yeah.
And if be me, I'm going to have to shave off, I'm like going to have to cut off this hair that everybody is like obsessed with, because I don't care about it. It's just hair. Like it's a very clear memory. And the thing I keep thinking about is like words matter. I did shave my head at like 24 or 25, and it was such a big deal, and my mom cried. Like, it was a whole thing. But like those words that I told myself at 15, I did when I was 22. I did again when I was 30 and I had my first son. I was just like, this doesn't define me. I am who I can be awesome and beautiful and great as a grown-ass woman without this hair. It's like heavy on me right now thinking about it, and that is the first thing that I think about when you ask that question.
That I like that there's like an image tying to that feeling of like, I can't be denied. Like, you know who I am, like, immediately. There isn't going to be any confusion, because it's going to be like visually there. Like, you see that it's the transformation is complete, and I am Candace.
Which is like, hair is such an important, for better or worse, hair is such an important part of our identity, and our identity as women. You know, when you're younger, you're supposed to have this long, beautiful, luscious, you know what I mean? It's like part of youth. And then all the PTA moms have that bob, right? Yeah. Like, your hair gets shorter, and then all the grandmas have that, like,
really short.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, your hair gets shorter as you get older,
sure.
and you're like transitioning out of importance, and your hair is going away, right? Yeah. It's such a simple and maybe even silly, and you know, it's like based in vanity, but there's so many people who talk about the importance of hair, and you can actually see what our culture thinks about women and about us in our aging based on how much they're cutting off our hair.
Yeah.
Like, inspire us through influence to cut off our hair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we need to wrap up?
We do need to wrap up, yes.
That's really sad, because I've been really enjoying this conversation with my sis, Candace.
I'm so here.
Thank you so much. I really want our audience to know that you can hear Candace's voice weekly, okay? Breezy Moms Podcast. You can find it pretty much everywhere where podcasts are listened to, right? You're on...
No. That's true. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yes, you're very good about that. You've been like helping me out too, and I appreciate you. You've been a very good resource with starting this podcast and making me feel like it's a real commitment that I could have each week. So I love having you in my life. I love having you on the show. Please follow us on at Cinema Therapy Show. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. You'll get weekly updates as to like what we're going to be talking about, and give you little previews, and just reminders to listen to the show.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye, Candace.
Bye.